you've been FBI director for the last, 8 months?
7 months, yes.
7 months, and during that time, have you held any stock in any companies founded in China?
I don't believe so.
Well, you do own stock in a company known as Elite Depot, don't you?
Which one, sorry?
Elite Depot. You own stock.
I think that's, I'll have to get back to you. I think it's a law firm and it's a company out of Singapore.
Hank Johnson asked Kosh Patel one straightforward question. Why is the FBI director holding stock tied to a company with Chinese origins? Patel couldn't give a clear answer.
Singapore.
Okay, well, no, the company out of Singapore, which is owned by Elite Depot, is the Shein Company, which was founded in China, correct?
That company operates out of Taiwan.
Well, they changed their headquarters from China back in 2022 to Singapore for tax purposes, but it's owned by a Chinese billionaire. I think his name is Charlie Zhu. And you own stock in the company that owns Shein.
Which I disclosed during my confirmation process.
You certainly did. And now, do you still hold that stock in that Chinese company?
Pursuant to the Department of Justice, who reviewed my material that was submitted during my confirmation process, I was able to hold certain stocks, and they made the decision.
You still hold the stocks that you have? You still hold on to these Chinese stocks, these stocks in this Chinese company?
I disagree that it's a Chinese company, but I was in the DOJ, when you're appointed, makes a call on what you can and can't possess.
Well, now, let me ask you this. Chinese companies steal trademarks, they produce counterfeit products and sell them over the internet on platforms such as Shein. They steal intellectual property. They steal data from American companies, and to me it seems inconsistent with your role as FBI director that you would own stock in a company that is based in a country that is the nation's premier national security threat. It's like you are putting your own financial security over the security of the nation.
I disagree with that characterization.
Well, I think the American people look at it like it's a classic situation of the fox guarding the hen house. If the FBI is charged with investigating espionage, economic espionage by companies controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, and you are the director of the FBI, you've got a conflict of interest.
Sir, I would just show if there's any intimation that I'm against.
Why are you holding on to this stock?
It wasn't a decision I made.
And it's valued at up to $5 million as of when you last reported, correct? $5 million in stock?
No, I don't follow it.
You don't follow it, but you're still making money off of it.
I don't have any money off of anything.
Well,
what I have done...
Trump's trade policies directly impact the value of that Chinese stock. Won't you agree with that?
Which trade policy? I'm not a trade expert.
Okay, all right.
But I want to tell you this.
Crazy on me today. Let me ask you this question. Why are you hiding pedophiles? Why are you shielding pedophiles? Why are you protecting pedophiles?
That is maybe the most offensive thing you could say to me, given the numbers.
Well, you have not released the Epstein files
of pedophiles.
You are aware of the Epstein client list that was published in the 18,000.
The gentleman has expired. The gentleman yields back.
Can I answer the question?
Can I just respond?
Of course, the gentleman can answer the question.
Since I took over the FBI, there has been a 33% increase.
Sir, all of that started under Christopher Wray.
Your time is done.
No, it didn't.
The witness gets to answer the question, and then we'll go to our next.
FBI director, sir, and you're coming in here trying to take credit for something that a previous director instituted and largely brought to conclusion.
I take no credit.
I think it's been clear that the director has numbers are so much better than the previous director.
It's deceptive.
Do you want to answer the question?
I take no credit. The men and women of the FBI have seen a 33% increase in the number of counterintelligence arrests out of the PRC.
And so all of a sudden, with you coming in 7 months ago,
and
gentlemen's time has expired.
And on the pedophile accusation, we have arrested 1,500 child predators in the last 7 months.
Under investigations initiated by the prior
appreciate the director's good work, and we really appreciate that the time the gentleman has expired.
Johnson opens the exchange by grounding it in national security. China, he says, is America's top geopolitical threat, and the CCP is aggressively targeting U.S. industries, technology, and intellectual property. The FBI, more than any other agency, stands on the front lines of countering that espionage and economic interference. Johnson is not just offering context, he's building a runway for the conflict of interest question he's about to drop. And he does it with precision. Johnson cuts straight to the core issue. FBI Director Kash Patel, the man overseeing all investigations involving the CCP, personally owns stock in a company with Chinese origins. Stock connected to a firm tied to the founder of Shine, a Chinese billionaire. Patel tries to soften the blow, suggesting the company is now based in Singapore or Taiwan, trying to imply it's not truly Chinese anymore. But Johnson comes armed with documentation. He points out that while the corporate address may have shifted on paper, the ownership trail still leads back to China. And that matters, he stresses, when the person holding that stock sits atop America's lead counterintelligence agency. This is where the tension snaps into focus. Johnson argues that holding up to $5 million in stock connected to a foreign entity tied to America's primary adversary isn't just bad optics. It's a direct conflict, a contradiction. A situation where the FBI director's personal financial interests collide with the mission he's tasked with executing. Patel repeats that DOJ's ethics officials approved it. Johnson fires back that approvals don't erase the reality or the appearance of a conflict. Public trust depends on more than paperwork. Patel then claims he doesn't monitor the investment and doesn't make decisions about it. But Johnson cuts through that defense instantly. Whether Patel tracks the stock price or not, he says, the conflict exists. And that's when the hearing unexpectedly escalates. Johnson shifts to another fault line: transparency. He confronts Patel over withholding key information about exploited children and the FBI's handling of sensitive, high-profile cases. Patel reacts sharply, calling the accusation offensive, and the room fractures. The committee spirals into crosstalk, objections, and members accusing each other of grandstanding or taking credit for investigations that began long before Patel's tenure. Order breaks down in real time. But beneath the shouting is Johnson's original warning, when the FBI director himself appears entangled in financial conflicts, evasive answers, and selective transparency. Trust in the institution erodes. Oversight phrase. Doubt fills the space where accountability should be, and every unanswered question becomes its own quiet indictment. This moment wasn't just tense, it was revealing. A rare flashpoint showing what happens when ethical uncertainty at the top of the FBI collides with the responsibility of Congress to demand clarity. It was a snapshot of how institutional trust erodes, not all at once, but piece by piece, under the weight of conflicts, contradictions, and the questions that leadership refuses, or fails, to fully answer. Subscribe Capital Debate Files. Thanks for watching.